It's Bruce Timm, which is on some, I'm sure on some metatextual level says something.
Hey there, Toonami faithful, and welcome back aboard Toonami Absolution, where we talk about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. Once again, we are your hosts. My name is Alyx.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John. Batman episode 17, See No Evil, debuted February 24th, 1993. And then Beware the Grey Ghost, debuted November 4th, 1992.
Yeah. See No Evil is, we've kind of talked about how we get one good or great episode and one okay-ish episode, and See No Evil is our okay-ish episode. Also, are those freckles on that dude's face, or are they like
They
what's
look like
going on?
scales.
I thought that they were like pockmarks, because that wouldn't be uncommon to see somebody with smallpox scars in like the 40s and 50s.
You didn't have to say 40s and 50s, you could have said in Gotham.
Or in Gotham.
If smallpox is still common somewhere, it's in Gotham. See No Evil is a very odd episode because it's horribly dark, and you can tell the standards and practices gave someone a slap. Because basically it's a Lloyd Ventrix, or Ventris as they call him. They spell it Ventrix. Has a special plastic suit that turns him invisible. So what he does is he goes and spies on his young daughter because he divorced the mother by hanging out in her bedroom and pretending to be her invisible friend.
Yes, but it's okay because he gives her jewelry.
I don't think it's ever portrayed as okay. Like we in this episode, like no, there is very clear. It's not stated, but it is stated. There's a restraining order involved here. Like
Oh, yeah. His
this
daughter
is
knows that he's a bad man. That he's a bad man. We obviously I was being facetious.
I, it's just it's I don't know. I don't think this episode is really all. It's like it's not as good as Grey Ghost, but I think compared to like Underdwellers or a couple of the other not as great episodes we've had, this one is better by comparison.
I just think they fail to kind of grapple with what's going on with him. Like I do think the whole thing's like, oh, the plastic suit is toxic, it will drive you mad, is such a cop out answer to what is an actual. Because again, they said, oh, we'll do social messaging. This would be a time for some social messaging here of the guy not taking no for an answer, but we kind of cop out by saying, oh, but you're wearing the evil plastic that makes you evil, so it's fine a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But I say my favorite part of this whole thing is this guy gets it. So he goes to steal a pearl necklace for his daughter. So he goes to Gotham Jewelers Association convention in Gotham, and he's invisible. But he decides to start lifting stuff in plain view. Like, I'm like, dude. Then he starts punching Batman. I'm like, you're invisible. Why would you antagonize the one man? But I also thought, in universe, do you think that there are like adverts in like trade publications are like, are you running a convention? Do you want it not to get robbed? Hold it in Metropolis. Metropolis. Shit doesn't go wrong here.
I I do have to admit, when Batman ran into the bathroom, I was like, "This does look like a job for Superman."
It's what I find fascinating about the whole thing is that Bruce Wayne attends jewelry conventions.
Gotta get that
Spend some money.
Rolex.
Yes, but he's also like ultra rich and can have Alfred order him one off of like straight from Tiffany or whatever the Gotham Tiffany equivalent is.
Yeah, that's kind of like on some of the modern stuff. Of course, Bruce would go buy the tackiest thing in a public place, so the press report on, oh, Bruce Wayne out here buying tacky shit in a horrible place. And then everyone go, well, Batman wouldn't do that. Batman is obviously a classy man, hence the black one piece.
Yeah.
I do feel bad for that one security guard, though. All he wanted to do was use the bathroom, and nobody was letting him do it. We were too busy becoming supervillains and superheroes. I like that little environmental storytelling piece.
I do as well, but it's very weird after a scene which has, how do I put this in a way YouTube won't kill me from orbit, that has unfortunate implications involving the child, because that early scene is horribly creepy, and it's like, now's not the time for pee gags, really.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I mean, I don't know. I guess we needed a comedic foil for this It also helps standard and practices when your guy's invisible and can like level people without actually throwing a punch, as we can see on screen.
It's the reverse ocean. Rather than removing the impact, we've removed the puncher.
um,
It's
yeah,
floating head
it's
though.
an
That's
oddie.
very.
Yeah, this is an odd one.
So for the production, Bruce Timm likes the Invisible Man. He says an Invisible Man works really well in animation, even better than it does in live action. We have total control over the scene. We can do things that would take zillions of dollars to do in live action. He then goes on to say, we were never allowed to put the little girl in any jeopardy. Originally, the climax was supposed to be at a lighthouse, and the suit, instead of just being poisonous, was going to explode from repeated use. Ventress was going to be hiding in the lighthouse with his daughter. Batman would have to race against time to get them. But we were not allowed to do that. That's why she escapes immediately.
I do like that she ran all the way home from this abandoned drive-in movie theater. Again, another spice to the abandoned lots in Gotham City.
Yeah, and they're like living in like a whole abandoned suburb, apparently. It's like, oh, okay.
Also, like how I suppose I have this question when it comes to I've got Batman in my basement as well. Um, like how far outside of like Gotham downtown is this? Is it like Staten Island? Is it like Long Island? Does Batman have to drive and conceal his Batmobile a considerable distance away when he visits the little girl at the end? Like, what are we talking here?
I was thinking it was like Stapleton in Staten Island. Like it looks like Stapleton out there, and I was like, "Oh shoot! Shout out Stapleton, Staten Island, all three people who still live there."
Sorry, little Kimberly, you're outside of city limits, so you'll be getting Robin. Oh, Tim Drake? No, not the good Robin.
Like it's close enough to Gotham City that your tax money is still paying for your trash pickup, but not close enough that you can get on the subway easily. You know what I mean?
Not paying
Yeah,
your Batman tax.
yeah, they have to take the ferry in. Yeah, it's I do like some of the aesthetics around this episode. I like for some reason like the cafeteria scene where Ventrix, whatever we're calling him, kind of follows his ex-wife. There's just something that kind of like feels like that era, you know. Just little moments like that that kind of have that 1930s 40s Gotham feel to it.
Yeah,
And
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 how
great
he
family.
dresses. Hmm?
And how he dresses, of course, yeah.
Oh, yes, he dresses like a total spiv.
Yeah.
I like that
Spiffing.
scene a lot because it does tell you a lot about why she has the restraining order and how this divorce kind of shook out without saying it, and I that's not something you get in a kid's cartoon a lot, and it is threatening, and it does make you think about, what the steps that led to where they are now, and that I find that very interesting, as opposed to like Sandman in Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man
Yeah,
3.
three.
This is really an episode of two parts in that you do get that really good, very dark drama bits. But basically, the second we sort of have Bruce learning about the magic plastic, everything kind of goes on to a level of silly that really doesn't fit what's come before. Like, this guy in his fighting style, he's like making jokes and Batman's throwing paint on him. That's kind of a low level Flash villain kind of thing. Like, this should just. If this was. The Invisible Man would be great as a one off caper villain for Batman animated series. But he
Yeah.
doesn't work when he's a guy under it is, implied to be a horrible wife beater. Like, this should have been two characters. This just should have been two characters.
Also, what's going on where the fact that his suit can also heat off paint?
Yeah, I think that's called. We came up with that idea too early and realized why that ruins the entire episode. Well,
It's kind of like the stealth suit in Metal Gear, when you get that from Otacon, it does anything that the plot needs it to.
Yeah, but Otacon's a genius.
Otacon is a genius. Well, we don't know about the guy who originally made the suit. He's dead by the time we get here.
Yeah, but he's
he
not Otacon. Otacon, we know that.
doesn't like
Otacon makes
Japanese
the
anime.
Yeah.
I think the paint heating thing is meant to be a foreshadow to that original idea of the suit exploding.
Oh yeah, because it overheat. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
because the whole thing of it saying, "Oh, it drives you mad." They don't really explain how that would even work if it's just like contact through skin. And he like, it's unfortunate we're in a world with the Joker and the Mad Hatter, where normally Gotham rules say that when you go mad, you pick a gimmick and dress weirdly. this guy has gone mad, but doesn't really. He's an old-fashioned violent, which isn't really. But look at Hatter, man. He's putting effort into this.
Well, when you're voiced by Roddy McDowell, you take it to the next level.
There is a what could have been for this episode, by the way. The
Mm.
original title of this episode was called The Count and the Countess. Tim sent the idea to a Japanese studio for pre-production work as an experiment, hoping he could free up the in-house team for the bigger episodes. Unfortunately, the Japanese overseas studios took months to produce even character designs and a partial storyboard, and they were drawn in a style too off-model to be usable.
Interesting.
So it was just canned. This was made sort of the 57th or 58th show in the end, so really late near the end of production, and they gave it this earlier production number to just fill that gap because they hadn't replaced the Countess story yet.
Yeah, much earlier. I mean, golly.
Yeah. Count and the Countess makes you think of Batman versus vampires, which would have been bloody awesome.
Yeah, give me that Mad Monk vibe, Or I guess, maybe one of these days we'll do the Batman versus Dracula animated movie.
I keep saying it and I keep considering, but their Dracula doesn't look very Dracula-y. Like, oh.
No, he's got weird eyes.
Listen, I'm always down to watch Batman punch a vampire. There's just something very fun about Batman punching vampires, and it happens more than you would think.
Yeah.
They are both the Knight.
They are both of the night. One is a Batman. One is a kind of not really a man bat, but can become a bat or multiple
we've
bats.
had one of those. We've had one.
Both of them have to count rice if you throw it at them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Weirdly, both of them hate the Christian cross as well.
Yeah. Holy water and running water. Is running water the weirdest Batman or weirdest vampire weakness?
Weirdest Batman weakness is
It could be a Batman weakness too.
I think the sock thing is the weirdest thing about vampires, to be honest.
Oh.
It's a very, very old Eastern European one where if you take a vampire's sock and I think you put garlic in it, it keeps it from coming back the next day.
To be fair, if someone did that to me, I also wouldn't return.
Yeah, I'd be like, yeah, not that one. They're kind of weird. They just throw cloves of garlic into my clothing.
Not to yuck your yum or anything, but that's just weird.
Yeah.
Some people got weird things about them.
To be fair, I like the ones that there's a couple of I think it's some part of past Transylvania. It's not garlic for them, it's just beets that the vegetables vampires hate. And there is at least one story I read where like an old woman just starts throwing beets. And it's like the vampire cowered and ran. I was like, yeah, because beets are hard.
Yeah, that sucks.
I don't think you drove a vampire. I think you legit killed a guy.
Yeah.
Well, you hit somebody with a beat too hard, that person is going to have head trauma.
Concussed by
now the fact that we're talking about beats tells me that we should move on to talking about Grey Ghost, because I know that Sam really wants to talk about Grey Ghost, and I want to give him the floor for that.
Oh, golly. Beware the Great Ghost, my favorite episode of Batman the Animated Series. You can tell that this episode, Bruce Timm would say that Adam West kind of helped introduce him to Batman. Naturally, we get a character voiced by Bruce Timm who's designed like Bruce Timm. Like that gets to share scenes with Adam West. It's just, plot wise. So if the other one was about some asshole with an invisible suit that tries to hollow man his daughter, this one, Grey Ghost, faded, movie serial star from the whatever bygone age, because we don't really do time in the DC animated universe. Gotham is rocked by the Mad Bomber, which echoes one of the Grey Ghost's greatest adventures. Batman, who idolized the Grey Ghost, teams up with him, and Simon Trent is the actor's name, played by Adam West. Save the day. It's Bruce Timm, which is I'm sure on some metatextual level says something. And it's great. I feel like the animation, even beyond the voice talent involved, I feel like the animation takes a big leap forward. I love all the scenes where like Batman's framed in like an orange glow, which we get several of throughout the episode. I do think the explosive RC cars is a little silly, but fuck it, it works for this. And the Grey Ghost is like any number of those like pulp heroes. Like the Shadow, I think would probably be the most analogous, or maybe the Spirit if we're on the Will Eisner train. And it's just always cool seeing Kevin Conroy and Adam West, 2 Batmen, and no matter what characters they're playing, kinda team up and have some fun, you know? So,
And
yeah,
I
that's my seizing the floor real quick, so I relinquish the remainder of my time.
You relinquish the remainder of your time. And I think it is really interesting because this almost mirrors a certain point in Adam West's career too, where he was not able to get work because of his time on Batman, and that was the only way people thought of him. And the 80s and 90s were a way that he was able to kind of eke his way back into the scene. And this is a really nice tribute to the last TV Batman. And the scene I my scene for me that I really just want to point out is when you have the flashback and Bruce is talking to his dad, and it's such a normal father-son interaction that builds up the fact that it's not just Bruce is this heir apparent that lost his mother and father. They no, they were that was his parents. Like he spent time with them. They let him stay up late to watch The Gray Ghost. There's a it heightens Batman's individual tragedy, and seeing him as an adult, rewatching this episode with such a good memory tied to it, and seeing him smiling and in it is it's so good and so subtle, and it's such great character work. And it's a damn good episode. It's a damn good episode, Charlie Brown.
Oh, very, very good. It's interesting to me because Adam West playing this faded actor was something he would do a lot, but that wasn't really his story. He was one of the guys who came off well from Batman. He kept getting work. This is closer to the original Flash, or Captain Video is the very famous one, or Ranger Video. I can't remember his name now, but he was one of the first early serial stars who the role killed him, kills career flat dead. Adam West keeps getting this role, but I think he kind of became his law post sort of later and was like, oh, he didn't get work at Batman. No, he was working fine after Batman. He was making money. He did a lot of crap, which is what it was, because he would never turn down paychecks. If you've never seen the film Zombie Nightmare, it is
Oh,
he
sure.
plays the detective and he swoops in to film for one day, reads everything off a cue card, and then goes home. Again, that was the thing. Adam West never struggled for work, but Adam West also never turned down work, which I think is part of the reason he never. It was kind of the whole thing. If you had $50 and you promised dinner, Adam West would come and do your indie film, like your tiny horror film. But yeah, as long as I don't have to do like any action, put me behind a desk because he played police chiefs quite a lot because of that. It's like, yeah, can you put me behind a desk and do it in a
Man,
day? Yeah,
I
okay.
wish I had $50 in dinner while he was still alive, man.
I did have the luxury to meet Adam West at a convention ages ago with my dad, and I watched my dad turn into a little boy all over again talking to Adam West. So seeing that mirrored in Bruce Wayne is such a fun little moment. Especially because, can we just talk about how dramatic Bruce is about the initial interaction where he like leaves the note instead of just showing up as like a fake collector like he has done previously. No, no, no. We're going to go on an adventure with our favorite actor superhero. And I kind of love that moment with him.
There's a couple. I mean, my favorite, I don't know if it's my favorite scene overall, but certainly one of my favorite scenes is when he finally gets his hands on a copy of The Gray Ghost versus the Mad Bomber, and you see him turn into a child again watching that. That kind of ties into the personal aspect you were mentioning earlier, Alex. But yeah, I mean, the idea of him climbing up a rooftop and seeing Simon Trent in full Gray Ghost gear and just being like, okay, man, let's do this. Like, there's no real like he doesn't push against it. He's just like, cool, we're gonna team up and we're gonna like beat the hell out of this guy and destroy his like toy collection.
This
Right
isn't
on.
that I work alone man. This is no, I want to be with my hero and have this cool thing that I'm going to do. And man, Batman the Animated Series is so fun because it makes him a character and not an archetype, and I love that.
Also, no, this is the first time we see him take someone to the Batcave. We've not seen that before in this, and this is sort of before we'd get to the later Scooby Doo crossover stuff where he's doing it every week. So that makes this. I don't think it won't be sort of until Robin. I don't think we'll see him do that again. And even then, like he doesn't do it with one-off characters in this show. I think at all, if not very often. It's only good people who will become recurring end up going to that case. So it's definitely a big moment for him to be like, look, it's exactly like your base.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
copied it. I learned it by watching you. It's so good. I love Bruce this entire episode. He's adorable this
Yeah.
episode.
Bruce is allowed to be a fanboy. It's one of the problem I have with a lot of modern Batman comics, not all, and some writers get this, which I appreciate it whenever they do. Bruce is allowed to have fun. Bruce is allowed to have a personality, and I like that I love the end scene where he talks to Simon now with his reputation and fame restored thanks to the resurgence of the Gray Ghost because he finally releases the fucking film that he has in his closet. I love that last interaction where he basically all but tells Simon that he's Batman. I love that scene.
It's a great scene. Like I do want to point out because Simon is struggling with money. How much money do you think he would have made if he was just like, "Oh, I know that these original negatives got destroyed. I could just license them back to the studio to make copies of." But no, we're just going to keep it in the closet. Like, okay, somebody would have paid for that.
Yeah, I assume he didn't necessarily want to be defined by the role, even as he sold Gray Ghost merchandise and his costume to Bruce Timm.
Which was
Like,
then
I don't,
stolen by Batman.
yeah,
Batman just straight up stole it all.
yeah, but it's the Mad Bomber, so we let it slide.
Yeah, I love Bruce Timm's whole like toy maker thing of his thing of like, I'm going to use it to buy more toys because I love toys, and it's such a funny breakdown. And I think the entire thing, all the interviews make it sound like a rib because the producer Eric Randomisky says that where is it? It was interesting when on Tim playing the bomber. It was interesting to see him in there. We gave him hell.
I'm sure
So
they
I
did.
think literally every line he gets is a rib.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I bet there are probably alternative takes of this out there where they've had him say horrible things.
Like I say, the first time I ran into Bruce Timm and my very first San Diego Comic Con run in, my first memory is seeing Bruce Timm the day before the con opens, checking out Star Wars toys at the Star Wars booth on the floor, in the privacy of that pre-opening night.
Putting,
So yeah, I have a feeling Bruce Timm has a soft spot for the collectibles.
putting bombs in Millennium Falcons.
That's what he needed. If he had more flying bombs, then he would succeed.
What I like, my favorite sort of random thing of this is when they're trying to stop them all. Batman comes out of a building with a flamethrower to take one out. It's like, Bruce, bomb, fire. Like, bad combo. Surely ice or something else. And it's like, oh, they're not going to detonate in the building. I'm going to detonate them just outside the building. So that's
Yeah,
not how it works.
he doesn't have the cryo freeze backpack like Predator 2. That's what he needed all along.
I mean, I'm surprised the Batmobile doesn't have just like an RC jammer. Those cars aren't exactly the most powerful things.
I was thinking that too, like, because this episode has so much collateral damage, especially when they're in the Batmobile and blowing up the cars behind them and just destroying a city block that is shockingly empty. Like, I, Batman, there had to be a better way to do this. You're the world's greatest detective, man. Come on.
There's
Hey,
a lot
son,
of
we just
yeah,
killed 3 people.
there is a lot of collateral damage. I mean, Batman fails to stop Mad Bomber at least twice before before he's finally stopped. My favorite thing is one of the cliffhangers, like one of the commercial bumps, is him getting cornered in an alley by a bunch of RC cars. And it's like, yo, he's Batman. He's got his like grapple gun hook. Why doesn't he just go up?
We
Like it's this kind of like I remember it's like no, we're gonna leave him on this sting. And even as a kid, I think watching that, I was like, but we've seen him get away from stuff like this.
Yeah,
Like it's
Bruce
just
does come
the
across a
RC
bit.
car thing. I think is the weakest part. I'm okay with it because I love this episode.
I think we just need a way of having a distant villain who has to use 40s tech. I mean, the one Dirty Harry film has RC car bombs. Deadpool.
The Deadpool, the final Dirty Harry film, maybe because of the RC cars.
Look, if you're going to copy any Dirty Harry film, why not copy the one that killed the franchise?
Yeah, I do love that he also takes out the final villain of that movie with not his signature magnum, but with a harpoon gun. Also, the movie has Liam Neeson and Jim Carrey. Regardless,
All
like,
I'm going to say is, like, the late 80s and early 90s, Big Harpoon had their claws in Hollywood.
yes, yes. We all
Listen,
want,
Captain Ahab was really pushing the harpoon gun that day, and everybody had one. All it was all the rage.
yeah.
One thing I do want to point out is I really like is that basically all the production. So Random Mouse, he says, yeah, this episode's a lot of fun. When we'd first got on the script, we all went, this would be perfect for Adam West. But do you think he would be offended because of the content? But he was more than happy to do it. Basically, everyone's like, we saw it, went, this is for Adam West. And no one thought he would do it. And then they went to Adam West, like, yeah, check's in a cash, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
When and where?
This episode came out around the same time, or like close to the same time as the Space Ghost Coast to Coast episode we did involving the Batman cast, if I recall correctly. Or they were like they're not contemporaneous, but they're close.
They're of the same era, which, if I remember correctly, Adam West is also promoting his autobiography at the time, at least on
He,
Space Coast. Yeah,
he would be, yeah. They are. I think when you count in filming, this would be just as that happens.
yeah.
They just had him down at like Warner Brothers, and they were just passing him between the different studios. Like, hey, can we have you over here? Can you go over there? Like, he was like, yeah, sure, whatever. You got $50 in lunch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a cartoon that needs voicing. I'm here.
I don't see any. I'm annoyed. His autobiography is not on Audible. It's a shame. I would have loved to have heard him narrate his own auto.
The orgy story would be great.
Yeah. No, but this is yeah. This is just whenever I introduce someone to Batman the animated series, it's nothing with. Ironically enough, it's not anything with any of the iconic villains or the more familiar villains. It's Beware the Grey Ghost. I think it captures a lot of the show's aesthetics. The animation's fantastic, and you get Adam West. It's it's kind of a complete package episode for me.
I think there's also, because obviously the Gray Ghost is like has that tie to like the Shadow and the Spirit, like those kinds of characters, but it also is evocative of the 1940s Batman serials that were coming out, and I think that like you're right to pick this as an introductory episode because not only does it capture the aesthetics, it also is a celebration in a way of the history of this character as a noir character. Like there is something very affectionate and celebratory about this and involving Adam West. It's not just the passing of the torch as like people's hero because we do see a Batman toy. It's also this passing of the torch of ushering Batman into the modern zeitgeist in a way that he hadn't been before. Like you had the movies obviously, but this is what's going to bring kids into the fold in the same way my dad's generation were brought in by Adam West Batman, or his dad's generation were brought in by those early serials, and the Batman radio show too. So I think that that's a really fun way to introduce people. So I think you're 100% right, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, I could see, like, I'm trying to think of other episodes that I would maybe Two-Face Part 1 and 2. I'm trying to think what my favorite Joker episode is, but we certainly haven't hit it yet. Heart of Ice, that's a top fiver, for sure. But yeah, this one, there's just yeah, there's a lot of meta textual content with this. Again, with Bruce Timm as the bad guy, I think there's just something. They love taking the piss out of Bruce Timm on this one, though.
I enjoyed that more after all these interviews. Like I'm glad to see even the crew ready to be like, Bruce.
Yeah, we got
You're
the
right.
perfect
The
role for Bruce.
Here's your OC, Bruce. We've made him smelly.
Yeah.
He's smelly and terrible. We hate you, Bruce.
To go on to that, there's a lot of like references in this episode, like hidden little in jokes. So like you'll see the Grey Ghost on his magazine cover cuts, Batman Shadow, the Batcave shrine to the Grey Ghost. The Grey Ghost poster is the Batman the Animated Series logo, just with the Grey Ghost superimposed over. This episode is number 8. The episode of the Grey Ghost, Mad Bomber, is number 18. This is number 18 in the production order.
Yeah.
One of the Grey Ghost tapes you see is labeled Dr. Death, which was also Batman's very first villain from the very, very old comics, back when Batman just fought people from other countries.
Yeah, yeah, as one does.
As one does.
There's loads of like little nods. There's also a very weird piece of trivia in this, which I have to bring up. So at the end, when Grey Ghost is at his convention, he has the People magazine cover behind him. If you read the top, it says Matt Hagen, man of a million faces.
Yeah.
Matt Hagen will be Clayface.
Yes, he
Except
will.
except if you buy the Blu-ray release where they've actually cut that off. They've scrubbed that
That's
text out.
weird.
I do have to ask really quick, with the People magazine cover, who paid who for this? Did People magazine pay Warner Brothers to be in this children's cartoon for the advertisement, or did they pay for the IP to put it in the background? Do you think?
Warner Brothers owed them or something, maybe? Because Turner owned a lot of things.
Yeah.
Turner, yeah. I mean, it is technically at this stage a Time Warner company.
I do like the idea. I do like the idea of like a People magazine executive being like, "As we'll get the kids reading People."
Yeah.
If they think Batman reads it,
Yeah, you know what we haven't tapped into yet? The children's reading market. Oh.
Because my mom reads People magazine to this day, and so I remember recognizing it as a kid, but as an adult, being like, "Oh crap! Did they pay for this? Like, what was
My
this
mom,
IP for?"
my mom worked at a supermarket, when I was a kid. So you couldn't get away. They would always that and like the Inquirer and
It was
everything would
People
always be.
magazine, the Inquirer, and one of the other ones. They were always right next to each other at the supermarket.
Yeah. Usually and I remember that was back when they had the Archie digests too, but those were always kind of right there. But I know I didn't get too much into Archie until later in life because as a kid I thought that all the Archie stories were the same because they kind of are,
They kind of
frankly.
are,
okay.
but
All I can find is it's published by the People Group, and I don't know who owned the People Group.
Maybe it's
but
best we don't know.
it's best we never know. It's a very Illuminati kind of organization.
Though I
Before
am noticing, having a look, the heading they use on the People magazine in the show is different from the one from the 90s. So they may have got away with it by using a different logo and saying you can't copyright the word people, it's too general.
Okay, you know what? I would actually be kind of into that. But before we get into some final thoughts, are there any other trivia notes? Any other things to bring up before we hit that final thought?
Nope, we are all covered with all of our nonsense. So Bruce
All right.
Timm, he's feeling happy this week. He's no screaming about animators.
You know
Yeah.
what? I good for you, Bruce Tim. Your Xanax finally kicked in, um, or or whatever it is. But what? Let's get some final thoughts, my friends.
One fun fact I have is that the video store guy is, I think, designed off Paul Dini at the time. Um, but yeah, no, it's my favorite episode of the entire series. Hits all the notes that I love, which is to say the pulp. Here, I love it when we lean into the pulp and the noir, and so we really hone in on that, and it's just a lot of fun. Everybody has fun. Batman has fun. Bruce Timm has fun. Adam West has fun. I have fun. So it's it's a great time.
Yeah, See No Evil is a very weird episode. So I think it's two episodes in one that don't really mesh very well. You can tell standards and practices were very keen to not have whatever the original idea was. So you end up with, ironically, something that's much creepier than it should be as an adult, I think. If as a kid, you probably wouldn't notice it. But now when I watched that, I just felt very uncomfortable because there are by removing the peril, you've added implications, and the implications are much worse than the lighthouse being sort of kept trapped in a lighthouse. The Grey Ghost is one of those episodes. Like in theory, you should go. This is a terrible episode, like because the plot's kind of nonsensical. It's kind of a bit stupid. But Adam West is just so much fun as a voice actor. He carries this. They have such great interplay. You can't not have a good time with you can sit here and nitpick the plot until the cows come home, but as a package, it just works. And it's so full of nice little nods to Batman lore, to pulp lore. This is the ultimate definition of a candy episode. It is sweet in just all the right ways. You'll have a good time with this, especially if you're a longer term Batman fan coming into this. Because yeah, it's so many nods, both the pulp Batman, the old comics, and obviously the Adam West series.
See No Evil it's not a bad episode, but we keep bringing these meh to okay episodes next to really really good ones, and it's almost unfair. But yeah, the first episode does have a lot of very interesting, very dark stuff happening that it was just not gonna happen in 1993. But it's still pretty solid. But Beware the Grey Ghost is fantastic. The chemistry is amazing. Kevin Conroy and Adam West play off each other so well. The animation has actually jumped up a notch. You know, when you're watching Naruto Shippuden and it looks meh, and then you get to the pain fight, and all of a sudden everything is 60 frames per second. Kind of has that vibe to it in a certain way. But in a lot of ways, it shouldn't work, but it just makes music in the best way possible. So if you don't watch any other Batman the Animated Series thing ever, definitely make sure you watch this because it is more than worth it. But that does mean that we have pulled into our final destination. That's right. It is time for us to disembark from Toonami Absolution. We want to thank you once again in joining us and talking about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. We have been your hosts. My name is Alex,
I'm Sam.
And I'm John.
and we'll see you next time.